While President Obama is dusting off his veto pen, the president making the comments to NPR just as Republicans prepare for a complete takeover of Congress following the Democrats' crushing defeat in last month's midterms.
I haven't used the veto pen very often since I've been in office, partly because legislation that I objected to was typically blocked in the Senate even after the House took over, Republicans took over the House. Now I suspect there are going to be some times where I've got to pull that pen out.
Republican Louie Gohmert is a Texas congressman and member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, welcome to you.
Great to be with you, Trace.
Got to be great news. The president says he wants to work with Republicans now.
Well, what he says is he wants to get out his pen and veto. But what I'm excited about is after all these years, Trace, now the president has finally admitted they've been lying. He, Harry Reid, all those folks that have been saying Republicans were the party of no. He's basically admitted in this statement, yeah, we've been the party of no, but I've been able to rely on Harry Reid to say no, so I didn't have to. But we've been the ones that really stopped it. That's what I'm hearing in that statement, and I'm glad the president finally admitted. Like an alcoholic, the best news is when you finally admit where your problem is.
You mentioned that in the health care debate, he was also saying we're going to work with Republicans, and that didn't quite work out the way you hoped.
Well, no, because he said, I have an open door if you've got any ideas. A bunch of us tried. They never had any indication that they would let us in. We kept asking, hey, we got some good ideas. Never wanted to hear from us. So that was all for the camera, all for television, but not so much for reality.
So the president says he's going to get out his veto pen. So you look at the chessboard now, and you've got these bills going to the Senate, and these bills have always kind of died a slow death coming out of the House. Well, now it's a different scenario. So these bills, they have a chance.
They absolutely have a chance. And in fact, the best thing to do for an open government is get votes on bills. And whereas Harry Reid wouldn't even let them come to the floor for a vote, now it may take some pushing to get Mitch McConnell to bring everything we send down there to the floor. But let's get them to the floor of the Senate, because either the Democrats, some of them will have to vote for those bills, or they won't be there next time after the next election. But this lets voters see who it is that's representing them.
So it shines light on these bills, and even if they don't pass, it's good for you guys 2 years from now, 4 years from now, during these elections.
Yeah, because already the president admitting that they've been the party of no, that's a good thing. Now we can show, yeah, we have had good ideas. We had health care ideas, still do, still have some good ideas. I think we should pass some of those. We'll pass a Keystone Pipeline bill. We'll pass, we need to defund the amnesty. I know our leaders had said we would do that. It helped us win the majority in the Senate. But now we've got to have our leaders follow through and do what we said we would do.
But you get these bills, John Boehner pushes them to the Senate, then the Senate passes them, presumably the president vetoes them. Then you need to kind of rally some support from Democrats to get these things overturned, to get the vetoes overturned.
Well, to get cloture on the bill, if we're going to go back to cloture on all things. But if you remember the 90s, I'm sure you do, Bill Clinton said over and over, you know, I'm not going to sign any welfare reform bill. I'm not going to require back to work. And then the House kept passing, the Senate kept passing. Finally, he had to sign it because they had built enough votes that would have overridden his veto. And now that's one of the things he's most proud of. Same with the balanced budget. He drug his feet. He was against it. They kept pushing, and finally he signed it. I think we can do the same thing with this president.
You're very skeptical the president really wants to work with Republicans, clearly, but what's the definition of that in your estimation?
Well, I just know from 6 years, I mean, I was a history major before I did my time in the Army, and I know the best indication of future performance is past history. This president's history is saying I want to work with you and then going to the golf course and not talking to anybody. Even among Democrats, I mean, he had a meeting with Democrats some years back where he read to them from a teleprompter. That's not a good way to work with Congress.
By the way, he did not mean to interrupt that wedding at the golf course in Hawaii.
Yeah, right.
Congressman, great to see you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.